But then when I would get like a payment declined, like fucking email from Kajabi, I would feel like I was going to throw up in my stomach. One payment would just set me off being like, oh my God, what if this one person is not going to pay? And then this other person is not going to pay. And then this other person's not going to pay. And now I'm not going to have any money to pay my bills. And
Warning, the following presentation is intended for mature audiences. It includes stigma topics like sex, addictions, mental illness, adult dialogue, and strong language. Viewer discretion is advised.
Guys, I am so excited. I have the amazing Amanda King with me today. She's talking everything, changing your money mindset, and I love her so much. And I'm just so excited for this conversation. She's an empowerment coach, and make sure that you're saying hello to us if you're catching the live in the group. And Amanda, if you want to just tell the ladies in here just a little bit more about yourself.
yeah, so my name's Amanda King. I'm a women's empowerment and business coach, and I help teach women how to step out of fear and into six-figure sales. And my journey with money is never ending, but most specifically began in 2018 when I was pretty much broke as fuck. I had left my corporate pastry chef position. I was a pastry chef, left the corporate pastry chef position, and basically for 2 years kind of flittered around, feeling like I was living paycheck to paycheck, not being able to pay my bills, not being able to do pretty much anything besides scrounge by. And so in 2018, I decided to join a network marketing company because it was like, this is the financial freedom you have always wanted. And so I joined it and hated every fucking second of it. Hated it. It felt super inauthentic. It felt yucky. And I had been toying with the idea of becoming a coach. It was something that was kind of in the back of my mind that it just kept kind of like tapping me on the shoulder, like, hey, I know you want to do this, but I kept telling myself I couldn't do it, gave myself every excuse in the book, was so afraid to show up. And then at the end of 2018, I had made $960 in my network marketing business in the entire year. And the current business I was in basically hit the ground. Shit hit the fan, and I had no money. I was absolutely broke as fuck. And that started like this really big, beautiful journey of repairing my relationship with money and really fixing my mindset about money, because at the time it was so much lack was in my life in every way, shape, and form. And then in 2018, because I was broke as fuck, I had to borrow money from my dad to even pay my bills. It was a very much, as my father would say, a shit or get off the pot moment, where he had always encouraged me, if you want to do something, just jump in and do it. And so I did. And in 2019, I jumped into the coaching world, announced that I was a coach, and was able to build and scale my business to multiple six figures in 11 months.
That is so amazing. Thank you for sharing. And girl, I feel you, because I joined a network marketing company as well back in 2016. And I feel you on the whole unauthentic part. And I just felt like I was so fake, and I hated it. It was so awful. And then once I got out of it, I was like, hey, great, because I don't have to fake who I am and fake all these things that they're telling me to do. And I'm like, I don't like that. That's so icky.
It's so icky, right? And it's very much putting you in a box, right? You have to post the pictures with the product like this. You have to copy your upline. It's very much like rinse and repeat strategy, and just basically rinse and repeat people. Like one person hits it big, and then you can literally see their entire downline start to become that person. And I was like, I am not that woman. Like, she is so different from me. And yet we were told, like, do what works. What she's doing works. What she's doing works. But that's because it was authentic to her. And so everyone really struggles, I think, in network marketing, because they really struggle to find their authenticity, because they're being forced not to find it kind of down their throat. And it's so icky when it feels like that. And it just shows you, like, 2018 making $960 fucking dollars, being inauthentic as fuck, and then 2019 really embracing my authenticity and saying kind of like, fuck everything. I'm just going to be me. I'm just going to do me. And being able to grow a business to multi six figures in 11 months when I couldn't sell a challenge pack for $180. It's all authenticity, and it's beautiful when you fully embrace it.
I love that so much. So we've been talking about a few things that you felt like really confident about doing, but what do you think is the most confident thing you've ever done?
Oh, I love questions like this. Um, I would say the most confident thing I've ever done was in October of 2019. I was in New York City and I was doing what was like a meetup for mastermind, right? It was kind of like this in-person networking event with Jen Casey. And as part of it, we got a photo shoot. And I was really nervous about the photo shoot. I would call myself a plus size or I'm a normal figured woman. I am not super skinny. And so I got really self-conscious over how my stomach was going to look, how my arms were going to look like, was I going to have bingo arms, like how my face is very round and the angles in which they had to do my face. And I got really in my own head about it. And so one morning, the morning of the photo shoot, I woke up and I was like, I should pose in my bra and underwear in the middle of New York City. And I was like, wait, what the fuck? Where did that thought even come from? And so I was like, that's a great idea. If I'm feeling this way and I'm self-conscious, I guarantee there's so many other women out there who would feel exactly like this. And it was even further like a sign from God slash the universe, whoever you believe in. Right before the photo shoot, I'm in the bathroom getting ready, and all of the women are talking about the features they hate on their body. Oh my God, I've gained 5 pounds. I hope the camera doesn't pick it up. Oh, well, my nose is going to look really weird. Oh, well, I have the zit coming in. Like they were just like trashing their bodies, right? And so it's like literally everyone feels this. And so I decided in that moment, and I walked up to the photographer and I was like, we had to go outside and do some outdoor photos. And I said, I'm going to take off my clothes. And I want to stand in the middle of a really busy, crowded street in New York City. And I want to stand in my bra and underwear. And I should have planned this better because I was wearing like a bright green sports bra and bicycle shorts that literally had a unicycle on them. Like they had little unicycles on them. But I was like, fuck it. It's not about me. If I'm feeling self conscious, other women are. And I just want to show women that like one size does not fit all. I want to show that women have different shapes and different bodies. And so I literally, in the middle of the afternoon, took my clothes off, walked out into the middle of the street when there was a red light, and the photographer snapped like 10, 15 shots as like people were walking by and as the horns were blaring on cars because they were trying to turn. And it was the most thrilling and nauseating moment of my life. Like I thought I was going to die of a heart attack afterwards. Like the adrenaline hit me so high. And then I crashed afterwards. And I remember walking back and I was like, is everything okay? I'm okay. Everything was okay. But that's like the thing that like made me really feel confident in myself because I had had really bad body issues up until that moment. So that was kind of like a fuck what everyone's saying about my body. Like I'm just going to embrace it as is.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much from someone that's, recovered from an eating disorder. And I've posted a couple like bikini pictures on my social media. I remember seeing your picture in your group and I was just like, I feel like that's like Chicago or like New York City or like somewhere like it's this big downtown place where there's a lot of people. I'm like, that's courageous. Like that is so beautiful. And honestly, looking back, I think you're the one that was like, I was like, if she can do that, I can do that. Like I can post a picture of my body and like you said, like I'm a normal body. Like I even refer to myself sometimes as like plus size because I'm between like a 10 and a 12 or whatever. I don't
Mm-hmm.
even know anymore. But I'm
Yeah.
just like, it's fine. I love my body. And I'll post pictures of me like sitting down and my rolls are kind of out, but I'm like, hey, like I still love my body and it's still beautiful the way it is. So I love that you shared that story.
It was so much fun too. And it's like I had been shitting on my own body for years. And it was kind of a time where like I have now 4 nieces who are growing up and they're about entering the age where I started obsessing around my body around like between 11 and 12 because I was a chunky little girl. And so a lot of people had pointed that out, not only to me, but to my mother. And so now I'm kind of seeing some of them go through the same thing because they are my nieces and they built like houses, just like me. Like we are brick fucking houses of women. And so now I'm starting to see little glances when they're eating something or someone about to comment that they shouldn't be eating something. And I was just like, fuck this. Like this has led to so many years of like treating my body like trash, like crash dieting, freaking throwing up because I felt like I couldn't have a fucking ice cream cone, stealing diet pills when I was 13 years old from a CVS. Like, this is where it all began. And if I can show them in this moment that they have nothing to worry about, and a woman who is a normal sized body with rolls, cellulite, curves, muscles can just own her shit in the middle of literally the country's most crowded fucking city, then I'm going to do that so my nieces can look at that photo and say, you know what, that's my aunt and she loves her body and I'm going to love mine too.
Oh, that is so beautiful. I love that that was part of it as well, to help encourage your nieces in their own like self-love journey, because you're right. Like, I struggled with my body image and my eating disorder started at 11 years old. So like if your nieces are at that age, and that's when they're like really vulnerable to all that noise coming in, and they take all that in and they absorb it like a sponge.
Totally. And that's what it is, right? It's noise. It's noise from society telling us we need to look a specific way, society telling us that we need to wear dresses and put makeup on and be a size 2. And it's like, it becomes so much noise that these young girls they can't even hear themselves anymore. It's just they're being hit from all sides. And it's really sad. So if we as a society of like older women from 20 and up can show them that it's okay to love and embrace themselves, and maybe not even love themselves, but even to be to the point where like, I'm fucking comfortable. Like, I don't need society's pressure on my shit. I'm comfortable. That just gives them permission to not take the same paths that we did.
Of course. Of course. I love that. So I know we talked a little bit about you starting with that network marketing company, and then you started your own business.
Mm-hmm.
And since you started your coaching business, when was a time that you struggled with your money mindset, and how did you move through that?
Oh, this is a constant struggle. No, it is. I do believe that so many people think that once you start earning a certain amount of money, all of these money beliefs are just going to shit the bed. And that's not true. They just start showing up more frequently or in different patterns, right? And so I would say at the beginning, because I was so broke, when money started coming in, it was almost like it was triggering in a good way. But then when I would get like a payment declined, like fucking email from Kajabi, I would feel like I was going to throw up in my stomach. One payment would just set me off being like, oh my God, what if this one person is not going to pay? And then this other person is not going to pay. And then this other person's not going to pay. And now I'm not going to have any money to pay my bills. And so those would trigger the shit out of me. And then when I started hiring a team, right? The first time I ever paid for a graphic designer, who I love my graphic designer, the first time I ever got an invoice from her, I shit myself, because I was just like, this is so much money. Like, this is so much money for a workbook. But it was like, it made up for itself times 10. But it was definitely like just getting the decline payments and really like starting to build a team, because every time you are really putting money out there, it's terrifying, right? Because you don't know if there's going to be an ROI. And if you're investing in your business, there's always an ROI, but it's not immediate. Like, I invested in my coaching business a year before I ever started, and I never made a fucking penny back until I started my coaching business. So it's really kind of surrendering to the idea that you're letting this money go, knowing that eventually in some time, in some place, it's going to come back to you tenfold. And so that was a big mindset shift I had to have at the beginning, when all of a sudden I was like, I can't do this alone. Like, and I'm not meant to. None of us are.
Mm-hmm. I love that you mentioned that when you put money into yourself, you get back tenfold of that, because it doesn't matter what you spend money on, whether it's in your business, if you have one, or if you're going to therapy. Like, I started therapy probably about 2 years ago now, and yeah, thousands of dollars in therapy with a therapist, but it's like the investment that I got back from that, the healing that I got from that, was tenfold of what I paid for it. And no, I didn't get money back in return, but like just what I got in return from doing that therapy and what I paid for it was tenfold for the healing that I needed to go through. So I love to mention that.
That's so good too, because I think a lot of people only apply it to business, right? Where they're like, oh, well, I'm going to invest in my business and it'll come back tenfold. it may not be a monetary value that it comes back to, right? Your tenfold may be your evolution as a human being over a short amount of time, right? So if you invest in something like a business program, yeah, you may walk out with something tangible like extra money. But when you invest in something like a mindset program, when you invest in something like a one-on-one coach, it's not all business, right? We still need to evolve as human beings. And every dollar you spend on your personal development journey will come back to you, because you will evolve so much more fucking quickly than you would have if you were by yourself. And that's the tangible thing you walk out with, right? Like, you're like, fuck, I spent all this money on therapy, but look, I am healed. I'm feeling so good right now. It applies the same to your personal journey. It doesn't always have to be, oh, I'm investing in my business. Your personal growth is something you should always be investing in.
Of course, of course. And like, even with my business coach that I work with, she still coaches me on my mindset sometimes. So it's not always business. And she nurtures my mindset when I'm struggling and I have limiting beliefs come up, or I have self-doubt or that imposter syndrome, and she helps me through that. So although she doesn't always give me business advice, she helps me with my mindset. And I'm like, that's amazing, because I need someone to help me with that.
Yeah. And it's like, I think too, and I always say this, like, so many people, because I am a business coach, are like, give me the strategy. I need the strategy. And I'm like, dude, I can shit out strategy for a day. If it doesn't feel good to you and your mindset's not going to, if your mindset isn't there, you will never succeed, because you will constantly self-sabotage. You will constantly tell yourself you can't do anything. You will constantly sit in self-doubt and fear. And so business is literally 20% strategy and 80% mindset. I have an entire year-long mastermind. It's a business mastermind. Do you know what the number one calls on Voxer I get are? It's never strategy. It's, I'm really scared to do this. I'm really scared to post this. I'm having these limiting beliefs coming up. I'm having these money triggers coming up. It's everything but business. But without that, you cannot have a business, right? It's like, people think that they can go in and they're like, I'm going to have a business and I'm going to take this business coach's course or this business coach's course, and their strategy is going to knock me the fuck off. But if that were true, then wouldn't every single person who takes a business course be successful and make money? Of course, because it's just fucking strategy. Yeah. It's putting a few things in line. It's the mindset portion that's really key to being able to catapult your business to the next level.
100%. Yeah, I know so many women that they will invest in their business, but then they do nothing for their mindset. And it's like, okay, nurture your mindsets, especially with money as well. And I know quite a few women, like, especially in this year with COVID hitting so hard and people losing their jobs and going on like unemployment insurance, at least here in Canada. I don't know what it's like down in the US where you are, but like, a lot of people were struggling and they're like, oh, I can't afford this. And we have to like reevaluate everything. And it was absolutely insane. And then there's other people that are like, oh, I'm fine. I have savings accounts. And it's like, okay, you've nurtured your money mindset and you've been prepping for this. And then there's also people that like didn't have a lot of money, but they're like, everything's going to be okay. And it's like, okay, there's two different people that are nurturing their money mindset. People that have prepped and they have savings accounts and they're okay to pay their mortgage, and other people that are like, no, I don't have a job, but everything's going to be okay. And I'm not going to stress the fuck out about it.
Yeah. And it's so hard too, because it's like, how do you not stress the fuck out about it, right? Like, we're in a pandemic, people are losing their job, people are losing health insurance, and everything feels like it's suffocating. Everything feels like the walls are caving in. And I think to be like, oh, just fix your money mindset is just, it doesn't work necessarily. But knowing that everything will always be okay, even if it doesn't feel like it in the moment, even if it feels like you are eating shit sandwiches left and right and the walls are closing in on you, like, I promise you, just keep going. Just keep trying to do exactly what you're trying to do. Keep paying your bills. If you get behind on bills, just keep track of them. Communicate with these people who, like these companies, because guess what? You're not the only one. The entire fucking world is going through it. So a lot of these companies are actually being pretty, what's the word? Pretty negotiable, pretty like understanding. Like, this is not like you just forgot to pay your credit card bills because you forgot. This is like something that's globally affecting so many people. So keeping the lines of communication open with your vendors, with the people that you're working with, and also just knowing that, like, You're going to get through this. You're going to survive this. And women, like I say this all the time, but I truly believe this, like women are the most magical fucking human beings on this planet. And women literally will make anything fucking happen. Like there are times where like, anytime you're like, how the fuck did that woman pick up a car off her children? Because women are hella crazy in the best way possible. We are the strongest human beings on this planet. We literally create life and birth something that practically rips us in half. And guess what? We wake up the next day and we're like, let's do it again. Like we are incredible beings. You have survived worse than what you are going through now. You will survive worse than what you are currently going through. You will get through it because you are a woman and God and the universe put you on this planet because you are one strong motherfucker who will not fall during this time. So just always, in a way, giving yourself a pep talk in every morning where you feel like the walls are caving in, saying in the mirror, I'm going to be okay because I'm one strong motherfucker and I can survive anything. And that really helps your mentality and it really does give you hope. And that's, I think, what everyone needs.